Welcome to Music Forever, a podcast by the New Horizons International Music Association. I am Irene Cohen.
Mary Kitchen and her husband Alan are founders and directors of the Butler New Horizons Folk and Gospel Band in Butler, Pennsylvania. Mary has played guitar since her teen years, but missed her chance to learn violin in school when her family relocated. In her 50s, she decided it was never too late and started violin lessons at her local music store. She loved playing and soon learned that what she enjoyed most was bluegrass fiddling. Now she takes part in many jams, both locally and at Chautauqua Institution in New York, where she and her husband spend time during the summer. Mary and Alan started a New Horizons group in Butler because they wanted to share the joy of music with other adults. Mary grew up in Pittsburgh and attended Duquesne University and Pittsburgh Theological Seminary. She has served several congregations as a Presbyterian minister since 1980 and is now semi-retired, pastoring 2 small churches in the Butler area. She includes music in virtually every service, often with Alan, who plays keyboards. This interview took place in May 2025 via Zoom. Mary, it's such a pleasure to have you here on Music Forever.
Good morning. I am delighted to be here.
Mary has been on the board of directors of NEMA for almost a year and a half, and that is how we've gotten to know each other. And Mary has a very special story to tell when it comes about her New Horizons experience and New Horizons group. But first, let's get started with how music got in your life, Mary.
Well, my father played the violin, and my grandmother on my mother's side played the violin. So when I was a little girl, I would hear my father playing. And then when I was in 3rd grade in school, I was very excited because I wanted to take violin. And I signed up for it. And then, unfortunately, my dad changed jobs right around then, and we moved to a small town. Didn't have any music, and I couldn't take violin. I was very sad. So years went by, and I thought, oh, well, I missed my chance. I didn't get to play. Oh, it was years later that I found my grandmother's violin under my mother's bed, and I said, oh, what's this? And she said, oh, that's your grandma's violin. I said, can I have it? So I took it and got strings put on it and started taking lessons. And that was when I was in my 50s. When I was a teenager, I started playing guitar. So I played guitar really all my life and sang in different musical groups. So I've had some musical background, but the violin came a little bit later. I was born in Cleveland, but I grew up in the Pittsburgh area. And now I live in Butler, Pennsylvania, north of Pittsburgh. I didn't have any lessons in guitar. I just had some books that I would look at, and a friend of mine and I would get together and play and have a good time. And then I started playing in some church groups and so on.
Can you tell us a little bit about what role music has played for you? You are a person of faith. What role music has played for you while also attending church or other faith groups?
Well, I'm a Presbyterian pastor. I was ordained in 1980. And ever since then, music's been a very important part of my faith and my worship. I often have played guitar in church services. And then when I learned violin, I would play violin in church services. And I've always found that music was a way for me to express my faith. It's a very spiritual kind of experience for me, being able to sing and play and worship through music. When I was in my 20s, I joined a musical group called His Company, And we would rehearse weekly, and we did musical programs in churches and so on. And I played guitar and sang for them. And I was with them for a couple of years. That was wonderful. And then other than that, I also played at church prayer meetings. And just when we would gather together, I'd pick up my guitar and we would sing and play and worship. And that's meant a great deal to me over the years.
Did you have any formal music education?
When I decided to learn violin, I did take some lessons in violin. And then when I retired as a Presbyterian minister back in 2021, I enrolled at Slippery Rock University near Pittsburgh, and I was in the music therapy program there. In fact, that's how I learned about New Horizons. I was taking a class in research, and the teacher said, well, now you are going to write a major research project. I remembered very vaguely having heard about a group that helped adults learn how to play, and I couldn't remember the name of it. So I went online and finally found New Horizons. I said, this is it. So then I did a big research paper about New Horizons. I found that there had been a lot of research into that topic. Many magazine articles and research papers had been written. And so I put it all together and wrote this paper. And when I finished the paper, I said to my husband, this is so interesting. We could do this. So then we said, yes, let's do it. So then we started our group in Butler, Pennsylvania, really that next year. Well, my husband is a church organist. He's played ever since he was a little boy. I think maybe about 3 years old. His dad started teaching him some notes on piano, and he started lessons, I think, when he was 6 and studied for many years. So he's a very accomplished keyboard player. He also plays bass, plays clarinet, a number of other things.
The two of you said, hey, let's start a New Horizons group. And what is so special about your New Horizons group?
Yes, our group is quite different because we are almost exclusively a string group. And when we were going to start the group, we said, well, we'll teach what we know, which we don't play tuba or anything like that. So we said, oh, we know how to play strings. So we play guitar, we can play violin, viola. I'm familiar with cello. We have ukulele, banjo. We have some percussion. So, and we have a couple mandolins. So we said, well, we'll teach what we know how to play, and that's what we've done. We put an article in our local Butler Eagle. We actually still have a newspaper in our area. Invited people who wanted to learn to play violin or mandolin or guitar. And we thought maybe 2 or 3 people would come. And 19 people came the first time. So we were thrilled. And so we had some instruments to lend people as they started to be able to play. And now we have about 25 people enrolled in our group. And some of them, when they came for the first time, had never touched a musical instrument. We've often loaned instruments to people. My husband and I, over the years, we seem to have developed a collection of musical instruments. And so our dining room is also a music room and the instruments, I think, are very happy to have someone play them. In my group, I play violin, although I also can play guitar. If we have several wonderful volunteers who help us teach. We have a very good gentleman who takes charge of our guitar group, and he also is a music therapist. He's retired. But if she can't make it for some reason, I can help with guitar, or my husband can help with guitar. But I usually work with the violin group, and that group is actually our string group: violin, viola, cello. We play generally folk songs and gospel. We play some things from the past, and we have begun a ministry of visiting nursing homes. And so we want to play things that the folks will recognize and enjoy. Our core group is also a group of friends, and the social aspect is an important part of it. And what I have read about music as people get a little older is that the social aspect is very important. isolation can really be an issue for older people. And many of our folks are, I would say, over 50. And so they really enjoy getting together, spending time working on music, singing. It's fun for them. And it's also, it helps them, I think, in their development of cognition and so on. It's helpful to them in many ways. We meet once a week on Thursdays. We meet from 2 to 4. Also, we usually have a jam once a month. And so people can come and just sort of try out new songs and play together. We have a very good volunteer who often brings new music to us, and we'll work on those. And we'll also get ready for any programs that are coming up. One other thing I did want to tell you about is we also make music at Chautauqua Institution. My husband and I, when it's nice weather there, we'll just go out in the park and we'll bring a couple guitars and violin, and people walk by and they'll say, "Oh, I'm going to go get my guitar." And then they come back and somehow we have this jam group going.
I think that is wonderful. It sort of reminds me of the old ways when we'd sit in a circle, play guitar, somebody else would show up and join in or bring an instrument of sorts or a percussion instrument. And I have no idea whether young people still get together in that manner, but there was something very wonderful about that, and it could go on for hours. Can you describe to people what the Chautauqua Institution is all about and how it originated? You know, it is a very interesting and beautiful place, so I'd love it if you could tell people a little bit more about it.
Chautauqua was founded in the 1800s to be a training ground for Sunday school teachers, but it very soon expanded beyond that. And at this time, it's really a cultural and educational center. They have a large amphitheater that holds about 4,000 people. And every morning they have lectures. Every evening they have a musical program. They have their own orchestra, which is composed of excellent musicians who are from really around the country. They have classes that are available on many different topics. It's such a rich environment, so many different things to do. It's a place of great beauty, a place where one can really learn and grow and become in many ways.
The nice thing is there are no cars. It is a
Right.
beautiful place. You can just stroll around. There's a beautiful lake. It is really a place where you can get away from it all. At some point, you came on the radar for New Horizons International. You contacted us, and can you tell us a little bit about it and how that then evolved into the board work that you currently do?
I always am happy to jump in and get involved in things. I really believe in the mission of New Horizons. I think it's so exciting, and I've seen how lives have been changed through the group that we have here in Butler. And I thought, boy, I'd like to learn more about what's going on there. I'd like to see if I could help out in some way. I don't really want to sit on the sidelines and observe. I want to jump in. If I could be useful or helpful, I would be glad to do that. So that's why I volunteered to help, and I feel very honored.
We have a very strong board, people with very different backgrounds, and how to keep that forward motion. It's a busy board with a lot of new ideas and planning to keep the organization forward going. For people who really don't know much about New Horizons International, can you describe a little bit what the work of that board involves?
That board facilitates the ministry, and I would call it ministry because it really is an outreach ministry into the world. The board exists to help the various groups do their work, and we have almost 200 groups that exist. Each one is very different, but the board coordinates all of that work and sets up camps, educational opportunities. There are so many things that the board is helping with. And that's part of the reason I've been very honored to be on the board, because I've learned so much more about what's happening and the exciting things that New Horizons does. I really believe in the work of New Horizons and how people's lives are changed.
You have also joined one of our camps in Cincinnati last year, and
Yes.
you are planning to join the Rochester camp coming up actually in 6 weeks in June
Yeah.
2025. How was that experience for you and your husband? Your husband was there too.
Yes, indeed. Oh, that was a wonderful experience. We greatly enjoyed being in Cincinnati. I kind of challenged myself a little bit because I mostly play violin, but I do play viola. And I learned that they were very short on viola players. So I thought, well, I'm going to be very brave and play viola. So I challenged myself and enjoyed that a lot. The experience of the camp was a very meaningful experience. It was very intense. There was a lot of music, a lot of different things happening, and I enjoyed very much meeting people, being challenged with new music during the performance at the end of the week. I was just so proud to be part of that wonderful concert. So it was a very rich and meaningful experience, and I'm looking forward very much to going to Rochester with my husband. He enjoyed it too. He played bass, and we had a great time there, and also exploring the Cincinnati area a little bit.
How was it for you playing under a new conductor in a sort of a new setting?
He was very kind and helpful to us, very encouraging to us. Our string group kind of banded together. We sort of became a string band, and then as we were learning and growing, we encouraged one another.
For people of various levels, ability, how would you say these camps are? Would they have to be very worried if they don't play greatly yet, or is it worth giving it a shot?
I think it's definitely worth giving it a shot. Even if there's a level of challenge, the challenge is good. And the other thing to be aware of is that they did send us the music ahead of time. So we could work on it. In some cases, they would send us one version and then a simplified version. And so if the simplified version was more accessible, the student can work on that. So I think that the challenge is definitely worth it. And as New Horizons always says, your best is good enough. If you play a couple notes in the measure and then catch up with the next measure, that's okay.
Last week, even, I was playing with another group, not my own group. And one gentleman was inquiring about band camp, and he said, I really don't think I'm good enough to join a band camp. And I said, well, if you could play in this band, you'll be good enough to be there for a band camp. I think people get the impression that at band camps we are excelling and do complicated stuff. That is not the case. Again, like you say, Mary, you can simplify things. And we're happy to receive anyone there. If you're an absolute beginner and still are learning how to play notes on your instrument, that may be really overwhelming. But I think once you are able to do that, these band camps can be done by just about anyone.
I agree with that. And the experience of playing with other people is a wonderful experience. When I started taking violin lessons, I was enjoying that a lot. But as time went by, I thought, oh, I wish I could play with other people. And being able to play with others in New Horizons is really a joy.
I agree. And you don't play your own instrument the entire day at these music camps. You can join a choir, you can do some bucket drumming, you can do theory lessons. We strongly recommend you take other classes as well, including things you've never done before. It's just to have fun.
Yes, and that's how we feel in our group here in Butler. We just want to have fun, want to be together, play music. Nobody is criticizing anyone else. We're just learning and growing and enjoying music.
Mary, if somebody in your area would approach you and say, I saw your newspaper article, I saw or heard about your group. I haven't played since I was 18, really worried that I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know how to tune an instrument. Where am I supposed to get started with this? Can I join your group? What would your answer be?
My answer would be absolutely. Come right along. Bring your instrument. We'll help you tune it. If you don't have one, we'll lend one to you. It will be just fine, and we will enjoy meeting you and getting to know you. It's never too late to pick up an instrument and get started, and it's such a great joy to be able to play together. So I would say to them, come right along. We will welcome you. And it's a great thing to try something new to jump in and learn a new instrument, or perhaps pick up an instrument that they played many years ago, can really enrich your life. And in the Butler area here, if anyone wants to contact us, we would love to hear from you. I do want you to know we have a Facebook page. It is Butler New Horizons Folk and Gospel Band.
Mary, I would like to thank you and your husband Alan for starting this very unique and wonderful group in Butler, Pennsylvania. You are a wonderful example of a couple that is assisting people in doing so just because you love doing it. And that is just a wonderful thing to hear. I would like to thank you too for all the work that you do for New Horizons International. It is a commitment to be on the board, and of course for all your input and joining us in these music camps so that you can add sound to these wonderful string groups that are playing in our music camps.
Thank you, Irene. It was an honor to be with you.
I would like to thank Mary Kitchen for giving this interview.
Music for this podcast by Mary Riddle, Swag On. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Music Forever. If you are interested to be interviewed for this podcast, please email us at nimapodcast@gmail.com. That is NHIMA podcast@gmail.com. See you next time.